life update part 1. We got a new pet. Thank you, Nancy and Goat Studio, for our new, I can't call him a fur baby. He's a scale baby, I guess, but he is a crested gecko, and this is his vivarium. Let me see if I can find him without feeding him to the beast. I love that it's live plants. Maybe I shouldn't open it because I don't trust her. But there he is. Oh. He's so freaking cute. I mean, his tail drops, so he has a frog butt, but other than that, he's perfect. And she's still a crackhead. She's waiting. She knows I want to open this, so I'm just gonna leave him be. But yeah, this is his little home. And he's just in there chilling, looking like a mini crocodile. I'm just doing my plant update. It's no longer a cemetery. Well, kind of. It's kind of a cemetery right there still. I just put a fake house on top of it. But yeah, tree's still good. I have new succulents here. My little props in there and a little piece of garlic. That grass one right there is a piece of garlic. My cool little succulent tree. My bamboo died, so I replaced it with a jade potho or potho, however the freak you say it. And then this is my crystal house. Look at them, so pretty. And water fountain and fig plants. It's been a while since I re-upped on my makeup besides BoxyCharm, but actually like new products that I want to try and get to choose and pick for myself. So today I'm going to be using mostly all new products, honestly. I'm using a different eyebrow pencil. I have new lashes to try. I'm doing a different foundation. It's a whole different brand and it's a whole different shade. The whole reason why, here I'll show you what it is. The Estee Lauder Double Wear. And this had a ton of positive reviews on Ulta, Sephora. You can see on cameras, I'm pretty much the same color as my freaking curtains and they're gray. I have no color right now. My skin is translucent. You could probably see my veins if you looked close enough. I had to go like 2 or 3 shades down from my normal one because the other day I was putting on the last of my Fenty, like we're on the last couple drops of it. When you have to take your foundation down to your collarbones, it's time to find a shade that matches you. My whole complexion is just a different person right now. So I had to get something really light. This is 1W2 Sand, which is not even a lightium meat shade, a light and medium or light to medium shade before COVID and winter. So I'm in the light bracket again. I also wanted to try Brow Contour Pro from Benefit. It has a dark shade for here, light shade for here, and then it actually has like a lighter pencil for you to outline with this product. So it's kind of an all-in-one, so I was really curious about it. We're gonna see how that goes. Don't mind my, well, it's not really acne, it's just like irritated, angry skin right now because I had to re-up on my Brow MVP from Fenty Beauty, and you've seen me use this in other videos, but I'm just hoping that this isn't gonna make my new pencil hard. But yeah, look at this is the Brow Contour Pro from Benefit, and it looks like one of those old pens that had like all the colors on it and you'd push it down and it would have like that color on the bottom. Like that's probably why I bought it, is because it was nostalgic in a way. I'm gonna start with my Brow MVP and then I'm going to do my airbrush. I like how it looks when it's new. Like I always have like this thing like using brand new products. It kind of makes me sad, low-key. I guess I'll start by telling you guys kind of what's been going on. I am in better spirits. My house feels lighter, it's good energy. Just been feeling more energetic and relaxed and not as stressed and anxious. And I think the reason for that is lately, like last week or the week before, I had smudged my entire house with several different things, not just sage, because I was trying to get whatever the heck was up in here on out of here because I was scared. Honestly, I was scared for a minute just because when I was a kid, I had really bad night terrors, which some of you may know as like really lucid like nightmares or an extreme fear of the dark. What was strange about this for me is it only happened when I was at my mom's house. And I think that's because that's really the only time I was like alone, because when I lived in California, my mom had a house and me and my brother had our own rooms. But my brother slept with them forever, so I don't think he really like felt what I was feeling because he was never like alone or like secluded. And this may be really weird to a lot of people who don't, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but a lot of people that don't like believe in things like that, like spirits, afterlife, paranormal things, basically. I'm a huge believer in it only because it's happened to me before. A lot of fear does come from an irrational place, but it usually comes from a place where it resonates, you know, where there's a feeling to you that's real, and that's why you're scared of it. Everybody who has a phobia thinks that there is a rational reason that they feel this way, you know, like about snakes or spiders. A lot of people have it to the extreme where they literally will pass out because they're so freaked out about seeing something like that. But it probably came from a deep-rooted traumatizing event, like maybe a spider like jumped on you when you were little, or you know, a lot of people say, and this is another thing, if you don't believe it, then not trying to offend anybody, but if you believe in reincarnation, they say a lot of people have phobias from maybe past ways that they died, like people who are scared of heights or scared of water. It could be perhaps because they died that way, and so it's just like a deep-rooted intuitive feeling where you're like, nope, I don't want anything to do with that. So that's kind of what I felt when I was younger, when I felt like I was in the dark alone by myself, because the way my mom's house was set up, like, okay, you're walking in through the front door and then there's the living room, and then there's like a hallway that like breaks off from the living room, and straight into the hallway you just see my mom's door and then the bathrooms to the right, but then directly to the left is a long hallway where there's 2 more rooms down that hallway on the right hand side. My room was all the way at the end of the hallway on the right hand side, so like there were 2 empty rooms around my room, and then my mom's room was a room away, so it felt like it was a long hallway away from help if I needed help. If I were to scream, it would have taken a minute to get to me. So that's what really scared me in my mind. So sorry, I'm like trying to tell the story and I'm like not even doing my makeup, my bad. So as you can see, it has a dark brown. I mean, this almost looks black on camera, but it's a dark brown, a lighter brown. The cleanup color, I forgot what they called this. What is this called? The definer, and then the highlighter, which goes underneath your arch here. So, and then the other color I think probably goes on top to like define it or whatever. Yeah, we'll start with the light one and then I'll do the dark one just to define it and see how this looks. Anyways, back to my story. Whenever I was in my room by myself, I felt like I was not alone. This idea stuck in my head. Like I literally know that I'm alone, but still have that feeling that something's watching you. And this sounds so crazy, and this is the first time I'm like openly talking about it because I know how crazy it sounds. This was so real to me when I was little. It's kind of like tying back into what's going on now, so we're gonna get there. The backstory to it is I've always kind of believed in the paranormal. I've always believed in good and evil and things that just exist beyond our realm or capacity of understanding. So I'm really open to those types of things. I wouldn't say I'm like super religious because I'm really open to what other people believe and other people's take or interpretation of source or creator or God. I think it's all the same thing that we're all referring to, but just in different ways. So I'm totally not trying to offend anybody or anyone's beliefs or anything like that when I'm talking about what I'm talking about, just from like what I've experienced and come to understand. So I've always kind of felt just like this really dark energy. Like, you know, when something feels good or bad, and whatever this thing was that I was feeling was not good. And that's why I was so fearful of it, and so fearful to the point, and I don't even know if I've really talked to my parents about this, really. I know I've talked to my mom about it because I've yelled at her about coming into my room in the middle of the night and like turning my lights off, and I would wake up at 3 a.m. and be in complete darkness and just be so frozen with fear, like I couldn't even scream. So like I've yelled at her or used to yell at her about it, like, don't turn my lights off in my room. I would just have this really irrational fear about being alone in the dark in that room. And that wasn't the case when I was at my dad's house, which I shared a room with my 2 stepbrothers up until we were like middle school, and then we moved here to Wisconsin, but this was still in California. So at night I didn't have those night terrors. I didn't have those lucid nightmares and things like that. I kind of only related it to something at my mom's house. So it wasn't like all the time. It was just a feeling when I was there in that room by myself, which really scares me. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like this light brown is dark. I feel like it's the color of the eyebrow pencil that I use, and it's kind of like chunky, so it's like hard to go lightly on. Like I feel like I have a heavy hand just because of how I have to hold it. I like that it's not super light, but you have to be really light-handed using it. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna need the darker shade for this because it's pretty dark. I'm just curious. I'm gonna swatch it. Okay, so here's the light brown. Twist it to like bring it up. There we go. Oh yeah, she's like black. It says deeper shade and it looks like a dark brown, but like it looks pretty black to me. But this seems like a warmer brown and this is a cooler brown. So I don't know, maybe just because I use the warmer brown or like neutral, maybe that's why this just seems like my regular eyebrow pencil. I probably am not gonna even try to use the darker one. Okay, so anyways, back to my story. So I just had this really irrational fear about sleeping in the dark or being alone in the dark in my room at my mom's house. I would have such lucid nightmares. I sometimes couldn't determine when I woke up because I used to have really bad sleep paralysis when I was younger. And as an adult, it doesn't really happen to me. It just happens at different times, and each time it's equally terrifying. But I mean, it was persistent there. Like it would happen almost every night. I would have these like gripping nightmares that I didn't know if they were real or not, because it wasn't like, sometimes it was like being, you know, the typical nightmare where you're like in an abandoned house and something's breaking through the floorboards trying to grab your ankles. No, these nightmares were like in my room. One time I was fighting my sleep so bad, like I had really bad insomnia too because I was so afraid to go to sleep. And I had this really vivid nightmare, and I don't know if it was a nightmare or like a part of a sleep paralysis experience, but I was fighting my sleep so bad that like I could feel myself like nodding out, and I was just fighting it like, no, I can't sleep. Like I cannot sleep. And as soon as like I couldn't fight it, because I think this is like the day 2, and mind you, I'm like 9 or 10 at this time, and this happened before, like when I was younger, shit like this would happen, but not to the intensity it did at this age. But I was like nodding out, and I remember I just couldn't fight it anymore. My eyelids just, I felt the heaviness, just my whole body just, you know, like I was asleep. But my mind, I wasn't asleep. It was like my body had like forced itself to go to sleep, but my mind was still like, no, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, you know, where you're trying to like pinch yourself or like, you know, pry your eyes open. And all of a sudden when I had that like thought in my head, like it was just darkness because I couldn't hold my eyes open anymore, and I'm telling myself to wake up. But then there was like this feeling of dread. Like if you've ever experienced sleep paralysis, you know this feeling where you're just stuck, you're trapped because your body is not responding to you. Just this feeling like something really bad is gonna happen, and that's usually when you hallucinate and see something. I had that feeling of dread, and then all of a sudden I heard this really deep laugh, like really deep, like chopped and screwed, like it was terrifying. Like if you could imagine what a bellowing like demonic laugh, like that's what it sounded like to me. It was a deep laugh, and simultaneously I'm feeling my body that I can't control anymore being pulled through the floor. Like it felt like as I heard the laugh, it was like boom, like I was being pulled through my mattress, through the floor. And I remember like feeling like my arms going out, and you know, like if you were falling back, like kind of like that jump, like falling off of a mountain or a hill in your dream when you're like pushed and you feel like you're falling. That's how I woke up, with that feeling. And I kind of had like that jump, like I hit the floor or something. And I remember I didn't sleep for like 2 or 3 more days after that because it was so scary and so real. I was like, what the fuck was that? And just like scary stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to speed through this, but that was like one of the more vivid experiences. But there have been things that happened like while I was awake. And like the reason why I knew it was bad was just because like it just was that feeling of dread and feeling like something is like not watching over you, like protecting you, but like watching you and like waiting for something. And the crazy thing about it is like as much as I like express this to my mom or like friends and stuff, like no one else in the house had experienced it besides me. And I felt like because I was just in between 2 homes and I was kind of just like a depressed kid all the time. Like I was always angry and like sad and just super dramatic. Like I just feel like whatever this was feeding off of that and like had known I was the most vulnerable, which is usually how it happens is, you know, the youngest kid or the sick one. So no one else was experiencing this besides me. So of course I felt like super crazy about it. My brother had a baby with this really, really kind-hearted girl. Like I loved her. But I remember in one of our conversations I had asked her because she was living at my mom's house with them while she was pregnant. And I asked her, I was like, you know, uncued, no prior conversation to this beforehand, but I had asked her, I was like, you know, I know you stayed with my mom, or, you know, you stayed with my brother and my family in our house. Did you ever feel anything? She told me everything she experienced, and it was spot on to everything that had happened to me, from the nightmares to the darkness. She had actually seen something like with her eyes. I've never seen like an actual like full manifestation of anything, but I felt what she was saying, just like a very like aggressive, like dark, I think she described it as a man. And I remember my mom saying that my grandma, who died in the same house before she had died, had said she was in my room. When I was like out and an adult living my life, she was in my old bedroom, what was my old room. And because she was older, my mom didn't want her like on a platform bed, so she slept like on a futon on the floor. And she told my mom that a man had stepped over her, like walked over her while she was laying down. And I was like you guys, like I'm not lying when I tell you the way that I felt was not right. Anyways, back to my brother's girlfriend. She told me it, like I saw like a figure. It was like a dark mass, and it was just a really like aggressive energy. And you're not crazy. Like I told her like, oh my God, like me too. Like I had bad dreams. Like I didn't want to be alone. Like I didn't want to be in the dark. And it was too coincidental. I'll throw up some pictures to show you pictures of at my mom's house, like photographic proof, so that I feel crazy. Even though like I have my validation, like I still feel crazy talking about it because yeah, it's not really something I've experienced anywhere else, but I feel like that experience has opened me to being familiar with when there's an energy shift or when you're just not alone, if that makes sense. So why I'm telling you this whole drawn out story is because I've recently been experiencing that again. Not like to the level where like I'm having nightmares, like lucid nightmares, and I can't sleep and I'm feeling and seeing things. It's just like this like feeling, and it's always when I'm like emotionally distressed, like when I'm having my days where I'm feeling more sad or angry, or me and my man aren't that good on that particular day. Like I just feel like this like energy, like this outside energy that's just draining me further, or like, and it's weird because I don't know if it's manifesting or if I've created it to be real to me, but it starts slowly again. Like I started not just having bad dreams, but kind of like sort of sleep paralysis. I've only had in my adult life sleep paralysis a handful of times, and I can remember when and where and what happened, because a lot of the time sleep paralysis starts as you're awake, but then it like drags out into like this lucid dream where you're just kind of in control but not. And like the last time it was really bad, I was in the hospital giving birth to my daughter, and I had really bad sleep paralysis where I had thrown myself out of the bed and was like crawling on the floor. And I remember looking at the cross because it was at Wheaton Franciscan, which is a super like, I don't know, Catholic Christian type type of deal hospital, and they had crosses all over the place, which was kind of creepy, to be honest. And I remembered being on the floor staring at it and like trying to pray, and I broke out of my sleep paralysis, but then I was like back up in my bed. But it felt so real, like I felt like I had literally thrown myself on the floor so I could wake up her dad to like help me, because I felt like something bad was happening. And yeah, it's just not good. I'm just gonna finish my eyebrows real quick and then I'll go into the other part of the story. I mean, it looks pretty good for an all-in-one product. I must say I'm pretty impressed, and it is hard to impress me with eyebrow stuff. I still can't get over this huge, I'm looking at it on the table, this whole chunk of pencil piece that just, maybe I just like twisted it up too far and you're not supposed to do that or something, but I don't know. There wasn't any instructions on that, or instructions that I read. I don't usually read the instructions. This is a new primer that I wanted to try just because there were just raving about it in the reviews, but this is Yves Saint Laurent.
Stop! I could have dropped my croissant!
If I said that right. I haven't used this on my face, but I kind of like opened it and smelled it, and it smells so good. Yeah, it feels like tacky, like not like slimy or like a film. It feels fresh too, so like if you wanted to wear this without any product on top, it's not like nasty feeling. It dried pretty quickly. My face just feels a little sticky, which is good because it'll hold the product on, but it's really light feeling. It said it's, you know, I like my matte textured stuff, so it says instant matte pore refiner. So with this foundation, which I used to just compare to see if it was gonna blend in with the definer shade of this, I had to use this. But like what's weird about this foundation is it didn't come with this pump. Like I had to purchase this pump separately, and it didn't let me just like pump it a little bit. Like I had to give it a full pump for anything to come out. This is what it like originally just came with, like that, and you'd have to like pour it, and like no, I wanted the pump, but I don't know, the pump has just betrayed me, so I don't know, maybe that's why it's optional. I bought this Huda Beauty Fender blender. It has like silicone on one side and a sponge on the other. It's for like cream shadows and like your shimmer shades, like metallics, just because those things are hard to get on a sponge. Even though this came with the sponge, you'd have to wet it, but the silicone part is kind of why I wanted to get it, because it was just like really little, and for this purpose too, just to like get around my eyebrows with this pencil, because I didn't know how it was gonna blend out. Back to the scary story. I started having that feeling, like something, like the not alone feeling. It wasn't as like terrifying as it was in my youth, but what really got me was that we've been trying to sleep train my son. So we put him in our daughter's room because his bed is actually in our room still right now. We're trying, you know, when my daughter, because me and her dad split custody, so she's not here every other week, and so her brother was sleeping in her room, so she wasn't here obviously, and he was in there going to sleep by himself. And me and my boyfriend, we were watching TV, and we still had the door cracked open just in case, you know, like he got out, or you know, he wanted to not sleep in there, so we just kept our door open so we could hear him. And all of a sudden we hear him like not like a scream, but like a startling sound, and it was kind of loud. And I was like, okay, go check on him, babe. Like, it doesn't sound like he's doing okay, man. We thought maybe his tablet died, because whenever his tablet dies, he gets hysterical about it. But it didn't sound like a cry. It sounded like just like a scream, but not really. Dad went to go check on him, and he comes back into the room, and he's like, it looks and feels so creepy in there right now. Like, you should go in there and check. And since I've been feeling this way, I was like, no, I'm good on that. He told me, he was like, I went into the room, and like my daughter's bed where he was sleeping is like if you walk into the room into the far right corner, and she has this little bed tent because she had this phase where she wanted to sleep in her tent on the floor. So I was like, you're not gonna sleep on the floor, I'll buy you a tent for your bed. So she has this like tent over her bed, and I guess Junie had his blankets and was like in the far corner, like in this tent, and was like had it like over his face, like he was trying to hide. And my boyfriend said he was like walking to him and like, you know, was trying to comfort him, like, what's wrong, like, are you okay? And he was like, I'm so scared. He said that as he was walking to him, like my son was like looking over his shoulder, like something was behind him. And my boyfriend, he was like, I just felt like I didn't want to turn around, like I didn't want to look back. and look because I knew I was gonna be scared. And then he asked me, he's like, did you leave the closet door open? And like, that was one of the things when I was younger that really scared me, was closet doors cracked open, because I had like one of the slide ones. So like having it like I had to have it like pushed up against the wall. Like I don't want to see any dark, because that's enough room for like an eyeball or something to like look at me. So I make sure all the closet doors are closed at all times, day, night. I don't want the closet door open. I was like, no, I had shoved a fan back in there. So yeah, I had gone into the closet to put the fan in there, but then I know I closed it. Like I don't leave closet doors open. But he was like, it was cracked open when I went in there. Really creepy. Like I can't explain to you the vibe that was in there, but it just did not feel good. And my son was like scared. Like it took him a while to like go back to sleep. Like even when he was in the room with us, like he was just kind of whimpering. And then I noticed like through the night, he was like kind of whining. Like he was having bad dreams because he wasn't awake crying. He was like just kind of whimpering in his sleep. He wasn't having good dreams. So I was like, what the freak? So then a couple more nights pass and me and Ray are showering together and I noticed this scratch down his arm. And I asked him what happened there. And it looked new, like, you know, like a new scratch. It's red and raised and, you know, like it just happened. And he's like, I don't know, like I don't think it was from my soap or like what I was, you know, the loofah thing, and his nails aren't sharp, and the scratch was like needle thin, like a cat scratch, but even thinner, like a cat scratch in half is what this was. And I was like, I remember noticing it, but I was like, what the heck, like it just happened, because that wasn't there before. I would have noticed it. And then when we got out of the shower, it was like more, it wasn't just on his arm, there was like some here, there was some like in the middle of his chest, there was some like down by his, like he has tattoos kind of like closer to his sides and like his hips, and then there were like little, just like little teeny in all directions. Like it wasn't just one like where he was washing, but like some this way, that way, this way, this way. Like it was just very strange. And I took a picture and I was like, and it seemed like more was happening like as we searched. Like, was that there before? Like, no, that just happened. Like, it was literally happening before my eyes. And I was like, this is not normal. And I remember one of my friends back before my kids, I had a friend who I'd smoke with, and it was like a joke that his house was haunted. Really weird stuff would happen. Like, if we were ever there, like at night drinking, like with a group of people, we would hear things just drop in the kitchen, or like, it was just a really spooky, like dark place. But I remember I had gone over there, like just myself and this friend, and he had like left to like go to the gas station or something, and I was in this apartment by myself and we had just smoked. And I remember I was like feeling like I was just really paranoid, but I felt the dread feeling, you know, like when you can feel something is there. And I remember like going to like scratch my ankle because I felt something, and then it hurt. So I looked down and I had all these tiny, like really small, like it was so creepy because it wasn't like my own fingernails. I would have had to have been scratching myself with a needle, literally was what it was like. But it was a bunch of tiny little scratches, just in, they almost look like tally marks, like just little teeny ones that just didn't make any sense. They weren't in any one direction, they were all over. And I remember being really creeped out, and I left before my friend came back. I was like, I'm fucking out of here. Like, something is touching me, it's scratching me, it's hurting me. Like, that was my first experience with something like physical, and it scared the crap out of me. So when I saw these scratches, that is immediately the memory that I went back on. Like, this is not like this worldly scratches. As freaking weird as that sounds, like that's just what it was to me when I saw it. So I was like, okay, you know what, whatever it is, it's creeping my son out, it's scratching my man, like I don't care what it is, where it came from, it needs to be out of here. And I think just because like I've been just like stressed, or, and not just me, like, you know, just how the world is right now, we're all kind of stressed about finances, work, regular day-to-day stress. What we don't realize is that energy, it has to go somewhere. What place do you spend the most time at besides your house? You know, that's where it's gonna build, that's where it's gonna manifest. And I think whatever type of things attach to you feed off of that. So I think it's important, again, if you don't believe in this stuff, I'm not trying to offend anybody or creep you out or pressure things onto you that you don't believe in, to cleanse your space. You know, whenever it feels dark, heavy, just not right, it's not gonna hurt to burn some incense, or even if you don't want to actually physically smudge, but just, you know, to speak positivity back into the air, like rebalance it, make it feel good again, turn some good music on, you know, some light some candles that smell good, and just bring up the energy, because my house before I smudged was just like dark, heavy. I was really creeped out about my girls' room. I felt really uncomfortable just like in this particular corner of space in my house. And after I smudged, it was just totally different. Like I felt okay walking in there. It just seemed like more sunlight was coming in. It was brighter. I was just in better spirits. Like I guess it's all the intention and like the mindset that you put into these things that makes it real. It might not even be the actual like ritual itself. Just you putting the energy to create something to be, I feel like makes it real. That's kind of my story with that. Is really creepy stuff was happening. I started waking up like at 3 a.m. like on the dot, 3 o'clock or 3:15, and right after I smudged too. It almost seemed like haha I'm still here type of thing, but like the night after I had smudged, something in our shower fell. I remember my boyfriend waking me up. He's like, go get your cat. Your cat's breaking something. And I came out here and nothing was out of place. Like there was literally nothing out of place. And so I searched around for it the next morning, and in our bath, like one of the shelves that's suction cupped but still like on the ledge had like fallen. And I remember when I heard it, and kind of before I even walked out here to check it out, I was like, it's around 3 o'clock. I don't even have to check the clock to know that. I know that it's around 3 o'clock. And when I looked at the clock, it was like 2:56, something like that, like right before 3 o'clock. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I'm freaked out, but I try not to like put my attention to that. And so things have been better spirits. So back to the makeup. For the eyeshadow look, I'm going to use my Meraki palette from Lorac, which is one of my more favorite brands of eyeshadows. There's a lot of fallout, so that's why I didn't do my foundation, just because it's a really buttery, like that's why I like it, because it's really easy to blend. It's the artist edition. What I thought was cool, because I've never seen this with another palette before, is that it came with like this little key, and I was like, what is this for? And like I told you, I don't usually read the instructions or like how-to manual type of thing, but I was like really curious about this key. I was like, what is this for? So it actually makes it so that you can organize the colors how you want them to be. It has this other like layer to it so that you can open it and you can push out the pans of eyeshadow and rearrange them with this keys. I'm just gonna do a neutral smoky eye. If you've watched my older videos, you know that I have a preference with my IT brushes, and they're on the pricier side. They last a long time. The quality is just superb, so I think it's worth it. I'd rather spend a lot of money on one brush that's gonna last me years instead of cheap out and get a brush that's like scratching the skin off my eyelids and not blending good and just falling apart when I'm washing it. So the IT brushes are really nice. So I actually just got a ton of their eyeshadow brushes because I had a dual-ended one that I use for like every look. Like literally, I think I use it every time I do my eyeshadows. I'm going to take my number 107 airbrush blending brush, and I'm gonna start lighter in cream, and I'm gonna take that higher, like close to my eyebrow, and then I'll use the same brush for my transition shade. Lightest brown that's here. And I'm just gonna do that right on top of, kind of a little below where I just put cream. The number 105, and this is the blending crease brush. So then I'm gonna go with the deeper brown right here. This one is corduroy. So this is a precision shadow brush. It's still fluffy, but has more of a flatness to it. This is number 112, and I'm just gonna use a deeper brown. The second to last one, and I'm just gonna use this dark brown right here, Espresso. And I'm gonna take that right into the crease as well. Okay, so now that I got espresso into my crease, I'm just gonna go back with the brush I used for corduroy and just put that a little above, not like right on top because I don't wanna blend it out, but just kind of where it started to like look splotchy and like not blended anymore, just to blend it out. Going back in with the light brown to further diffuse it. Eye smudger. I'm gonna take the deepest color in this palette. It's called Jet Black. This one right here. I'm gonna start at my lash line. So I'm just putting the black on my eyelid. And now again with the brush that I did espresso with. So I'm done with the top part of my smoky eye, but to really make my eyes pop, I like to go all the way around. So with that, I'm only going to take the lighter shade of brown, and I'm gonna put that before I put the black. So this is kind of similar to the smudger, but this smudger is a little more firm and precise, which is what I'm gonna use on almost my waterline, my lash line. So this is what I'm gonna use just to kind of give it depth with the lighter shade of brown that I was talking about. Usually I do this after I do my contour, because a lot of the times when I put my foundation or do my contour, it covers it, whatever. I'm just gonna try and get the best I can around it. If it creeps up, I'll just go over it again. And I'm not gonna do like a super dramatic eyeliner, just because it is smoky and you're not really gonna be able to see the lines. I'm just going to put it on my lash line, like right above it, so that the eyelashes melt on. I just really put an almond shape around my eye, no crazy wing. I kind of try to smudge it out a little bit so it wasn't like pointed. I really just wanted to show you guys a brand that my friend who I used to work with, she just created her new brand, and they are beautiful and fluffy and full. I have 3 styles, so I'm not really sure which one I wanted to use. This is Moreno Luxury, and the packaging is super cute, you guys. Like, it has like this cute little drawer and glitter. The font is really nice. It just looks luxurious and expensive, and it's actually not super unaffordable, and you can wear these more than one time. So these are actually perfect for the look that I'm going for. Not something super long and crazy, but full and fluffy. There's also one that's more like of a natural look if you didn't want something super long. She also gave me this one. This one's a little more natural looking if you just wanted to put some eyeliner on and pop some lashes on. These are the ones that I would go for. And then these ones are a little more dramatic too for a makeup look, which I thought were really pretty. These ones, I'm gonna try one of each on, so let's see. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. It's really long and fluffy, but not too much. Like, it's not going over all my eyeshadow. So this one's really pretty, and this one's really full and pretty too. I don't know, I can't decide. I don't know. I don't know, these are both so pretty, I can't pick. Why? I'm going to use the Me 15, which is the first pair that I showed you, because these are giving me more of just like the round, like kind of ombre. Instead of, those are really pretty, but I feel like with the like dramatic wing, those would go really good with. So with the new eyelashes, I just like to cut like the extra band that's right there at the ends. I just wet my beauty blender, and now I'm going to go in with my foundation. I'm so excited. I look crazy tough, but now I'm just gonna take my Fenty Beauty concealer and just get under my eyes and nose and chin. So now that I had laid down my foundation and set it, I'm gonna go in with my contour, just using my mini Benefit palettes. So just the Hoola and Dallas for my blush. I'm just going back in with the brush that I use jet black with, and I'm gonna just get as close as I can to my waterline to smoke out the black eyeliner. And now I'm gonna put on mascara. I'm just gonna use the Sky High waterproof because it seems to be good for my bottom eyelashes, just because my eyes water. Last but not least, I'm gonna do my lips, and I'm gonna do kind of like an ombre type of deal. But I'm gonna use Mason in my NYX Suede lip liner, and then I'm gonna use my MAC mini lipstick in the color Teddy for the middle. Okay, so I just cleaned up my lip liner. This is pretty much the final look. I'm just going to set my face and set my lips. Usually when I do an ombre lip, I set it with translucent powder so that it kind of gives it more of an even color. Because I don't know, I feel like without it you can see the two different colors, but this blends it a little better. I don't know if that makes sense. And also too, it makes it so that it lasts longer. So if you eat something or drink something or put your lips in something, it's not gonna disappear right away. And wherever it feels sticky is where I'm gonna add more. And that's it. I'm just going to use my Morphe matte setting spray to set everything in place. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking around and being here after I've gone ghost for weeks. I really don't deserve you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.